Over the weekend of September 17th, 18th, 19th, the Creative Arts Collaboration Group on YouTube is putting together a series of videos. There may be over 200 artists involved, and each of these videos will have hashtag #LoveFallArt. All you have to do is search for that hashtag on YouTube and you will get a list of videos that are from artists all over the world. Everything from soup to nuts. There may be encaustic, there may be acrylic, there may be watercolor, oil, weaving, glassmaking, whatever you can think of that is a creative venture. There are artists who are playing along this weekend. So no matter what you love, you may find some great new artists here to follow. Please like and subscribe because that's what keeps us excited. And I personally love your comments. Hey everybody, it's Vicki. Welcome back. It feels like I've been gone forever and it's only been a couple of days. So, I spent the last 2 days teaching a private workshop and you won't believe how much stuff we accomplished. A good friend came from Little Rock, spent 2 nights with us, and was real curious about starting in multimedia and journaling, and she's like me and originally came from the soft craft industry, which is kind of an umbrella for the fibers and needle arts, knitting, crochet, and that kind of thing. So when I was there a couple of weeks ago for a baby shower and to deliver the painting of Bailey and Glory, which you can see those videos on my YouTube channel, Sharon was I took a lot of my journals, been journaling by 5s, and she was so interested we went straight to Michael's and bought her a few basics, and I left her with one of my JB5 composition books that the pages were already glued. So when she planned to come up this time, I kind of had a schedule in my head. She asked about jelly printing, so I thought, okay, that's a great idea. We'll start with making papers. And so we spent 3 or 4 hours making jelly prints for her and showing her the technique, letting her get a little bit familiar with the materials. And then the next day we rubber stamped on tissue paper, on dressmakers, the old patterns, that beigey color paper. Just willy-nilly stamping the whole sheet full. Let me get one of mine, I think. My new studio setup worked really well yesterday. I have a 24 by 24 inch particle board top on a one of those wire kitchen island racks, and I fixed it so we had 2 workstations. So it was easy to find what I wanted and get out what I wanted, use it, and then put it back, so we didn't have a mess this morning. Anyway, this is some that I have done. I did these last week. Just stamp any which direction you want to stamp. You don't have to worry about right side and wrong side, because if you accidentally stamp it wrong side, you can turn it over, and because the ink goes right through the tissue paper. So I showed her how to, let me find a small one and I'll show you too. It's kind of a good tip. I printed some, I did some on some colored tissue paper. Now let me show you this little tip. Q-tip, finger, anything really that you want to use. Something that will allow you to draw a straight line with clear water. Now this is something I learned way early on in my art career with watercolor paper, was that in order to get a little bit of a deckled edge all the way around something, if you wet it first, you get a deckled edge without tearing, because if you tear it, you can't control where the paper is going to tear due to the weave on it. Now see, I'm showing you that backwards. There's frontwards. So anyway, that's a quick, easy way to tear one stamp out of the middle of a sheet. And then put these away, and then you've got all kinds of stamped papers to go for inventory for cutouts for collage. So we did that, and then she said, okay, now I want to work on the journaling by 5. So we got the book out, the composition book out, and first thing we did was put paint and ink on several pages. We didn't try to go all the way through. We didn't try to time it. Second stage, we put on some collage paper, so she got to try the Deco Art matte medium, and she got to try Daler Rowney. This is the acrylic matte medium that I buy at Walmart. I just picked those two for her because one is thicker than the other. One is more of an artist quality, and the other is more of a crafter quality. So I really wanted to express to her that the difference in the two, and the difference in everybody has a different brand. And then the third thing I had her do was to glue some things down using my glue sponge. And I've got a video on that too. It's I love it. It's been a grand experiment, and like I said, I love it. So we did that, and then she went back through and put stamps and stencils on her 6 or 10 pages, whatever it was. The other thing, then the last thing, and then I'm going to quit talking about that because I don't have any pictures because she took everything back to Little Rock with her, so sorry about that. She had stumbled on an Andy Skinner demo, and he works with Deco Art, and in a lot of his stencils, and he was instrumental in designing their paint line. And I am a member of the Helping Artists Club, so I love their products. I've been playing with them. And this particular exercise is one of his videos, and you can find it on YouTube by searching Andy Skinner alcohol. Basically, that's what we're going to do here, and I'm going to do this for the fall art, hashtag love fall art theme for Creative Arts Collaboration. So the very first step is to coat this page with gesso, which I'm going to do. You can watch. I'll probably speed it up. I'm using an Americana Decor brush. My only issue with this brush is that if you get a whole lot of water in the handle area and you tilt it this way, water will come out down your hands. So it's just something to be aware of. You might not want to just lay it flat in the water and let water collect up in there. So, that said, Deco Art Media, and I'm going to use their gesso. This is part of what's soaked under the paper. It's really cool, so I'm going to try to not deliberately cover it all up. So here we go. This gesso from Deco Art is very thick, almost like marshmallow cream. And I want to make sure I get good coverage. Their gesso is thicker than normal, and their matte medium is thinner than normal. I don't know. Not normal. There is no normal. There are no rules. Okay. Just for habit, I put a piece of plastic over the top of my jars and close them. Just in case it thinks about drying out, it's got two barriers to go through. I printed off the internet a pumpkin outline, and this is what it looks like. It's got a whoop, put it down in the gesso. How about? Anyway, this is the kind of design I want to use right here for fall. So the area I'm interested in is right here in the 2 leaves for this technique. And I will do something else up in this area. But I think I'm going to try my new, this is a chart pack blender, and it is filled with xylene, and I think it's one of the few that is. And this works with laser printers or toner, like copy machines, toner based, not inkjet. And this will, if you turn your picture over, and then right on the back of it with this, it should transfer the laser toner to your painting. So we're going to let this dry. Still on. Okay, this is my box that I have of the Deco Art Media Fluids Warm Light. Separated into box. I have a few iridescents in here. I try to keep them turned upside down, not that it matters, but sometimes with paint it helps to keep things from settling all the way to the bottom. Pumpkin, fall, what colors do we like? We like that. We like raw sienna. Do you know the difference between raw sienna and yellow ochre? One is a little more transparent. The colors are about the same. Raw sienna is typically more transparent. So there's your lesson for today. Burnt sienna, no, maybe yellow iron oxide. Bonanza. Okay, I'll quit. Transparent red iron oxide, that might be good. I only need one of these, so let's go with the raw sienna. Red, orange. Now for the leafuses, I've got a few goldens in here. I don't have too many goldens, so I'm sorry, I should show you. This is my box of cool darks. I want a sap green, phthalo. Phthalo. Come on, sap. It's real dark sap, so I may lighten it with some yellow, primary yellow, and sap green is a yellowish green. So I'm going to pull some Viridian. Quinacridone violet. That'll be a good kind of a shadowy mix. Okay, so there are my leaf colors. Now my leaf colors, pencil, are up in that area. I'm might as well go ahead and include that. The crooked. Well, it does a lot of good to outline it on the paper that you're going to transfer. Goose. That's kind of that. In this area can be the pumpkin. Okay. Put the pencil in the bucket. Now, here's the process. We did this twice last night and didn't quite have it right. We watched the video 3 times, I think. So, here's the theory. You mix your color with quite a bit of water. Let me see if I can get a smaller bucket. Trash can. Let me get this. My workspace isn't totally organized yet, so y'all forgive me. Please forgive me. But we're going to make it. Alrighty. And I'm going to switch to the Americana 1-inch angle brush. Can you see that? Now, I haven't done this correctly yet, so this is going to be interesting. And while this is wet on the paper, we're going to drop denatured alcohol into it. And we'll see. I'm using the Tim Holtz Adirondack. I just want onesies. Yeah, this is working much better. Last night we did not have enough water. So the water was the missing element to what we were getting. And we got a great result, don't get me wrong. We got a great result. And we were using... I put some 91% isopropyl alcohol in a mini mister. And that kind of gives it some small speckles. Just a little bit of texture. Now, we dry. I want to confess this is really a science experiment and I'm playing with botulism in the lab. It kind of looks like a dreaded disease under a microscope, doesn't it? Or amoebas? Maybe amoebas. Amoebas. Okay, we're dry. Now, I know, I say that all the time. Bring this over here. Now the next color, I'm going to use gold. This is the raw sienna. Can you see that? Nope. Make it soupy. I got a little bit of the other color still in the brush, but that's okay. Now just brush this right over the top. And immediately go in with the alcohol. Now see how the alcohol is pushing the gold away, so you're seeing the orange underneath. Not much of a color change, but there is some. I'm going to do what I didn't plan. I'm going to pull this yellow now, primary yellow, because these colors were so close together. The orange is not that far different, so I'm going to Mix up a little bit of the primary yellow. This stuff is so pigmented that 2 drops is enough. Okay, here we go. Add another drop. And alcohol. I'm mopping up what's left of the pigment with this other printout so I can get it off my board. Reaching for another color, I'm going to go with quinacridone red. We're still picking up some of those 3 colors, but they're all so close together they're not showing up like it would if you had a yellow, green, and a red. I'm going to dry it. Now the secret to this, guys, is the water. Last night we used too much pigment and not enough water. See how? That's almost a milk consistency. Here we go. Can't waste time dabbling with it. You got to get it on there and hit it with the alcohol before it starts to dry, because it will not move after it starts to dry. We'll spray it for a little bit of dotty texture. Mop up. Smells like a hospital in here. I'm making this up as I go along. I have not practiced this. Ooh, it's hot. It's also not quite dry right there, but it's close. So whatever flub ups I make, you're going to get to see. All we're doing right now is we're creating a background for the pumpkin. And because I can't stand it, I'm going to add, remember the sap green? I'm going to see what color it is first. Now, if you know your color theory, this is the complement to red. That's a nice color. I think I'll just leave it alone. So if I put this on the shadow side of my pumpkin, and I'm going to have my light source coming from up here. Well, that did a good job. You can't see it. Upper left. That's just a personal preference, but I do try to mark it on my paper so that I'll remember it. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit this on the far side and maybe just a few places for shadow in there. And I'm going to hit this again. Now in the places that settles, it's going to tone the red down just a little bit, which is going to give me a shadow. And I also put just quick lines right there, which will be kind of where the pumpkin humps are. Humps and valleys. Ow, 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 ow. Mop up. Look at this. You never know what you're going to get, but it's all usable. Don't waste anything. Next color. Orange. It's about 2 drops. Now what this is doing, mix it up real good with the water. I want it soupy, milky. What this is doing, there goes the trash can in the floor. I'm going to cover the whole thing. Alcohol. Because these colors are transparent, each color that you put on allows the other colors to bleed through. On your paper, not the napkin. Vicki sometimes forgets. I have now Duralide yellow. I think that's correct. These are chemistry terms. So I'm going to put that, and I'm going to put just a little bit of the primary yellow, 1 drop. And see if I can't get a little more drastic color variation for my lights. Interference green. This is interference green I'm playing now. I have no clue what this is going to do. And I'm just going to hit the lights, or what would be the lightest part. Still not getting as much color variation as I would like. However, it is, everything is original. And if I were to try this again, I would never get the same result. But I want y'all to see that I'm playing and I'm not overly planning anything. Okay, I just had a new Kleenex and it fell off in the floor. If I was 20, I think I'd just paint the floor. And now I'm going to come back with just straight interference green. Just hit it across those top areas. I don't know that this is going to show up that good, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. Hey, if a little bit works, a whole lot's better, right? This is the Adirondack alcohol blending solution, which I have been led to believe is the same as the denatured alcohol that you have to buy in the hardware store. The reason why this is the strongest that you can buy in a drugstore at 91% is because this has something added to it to make it taste bad, so you won't drink it. And apparently people drink this, so it's not as readily available to purchase. Okay? If you need it that bad, let me know and I'll send you a coupon for PGA. It might still kill you, but it'll taste better. Actually, I like that iridescent. See it? Isn't that cool? So now we're not going to leave well enough alone because I can't do that. I am going to use Mr. Titan Buff. Titan Buff. Yes, he is. Especially if you saw my video of a couple weeks ago with the fiddler. I'm going to put 3 drops of Titan Buff. My water is kind of orangey, but I don't think that's going to matter. Mixing it up soupy again. Go over the whole thing very quickly. And alcohol. That's so much fun. Now I'm going to spray just a little bit of this yellow tinted. That may or may not have been a good idea, but that's how we roll. Now my weapons in the floor. Both of them. Now, I'm glad I put the Titan Buff on there. It may have covered up my iridescent. Let's see if we got any iridescent left. Doesn't look like it, but guess what? I'm going to mix up just a little. 1 drop. And I'm going to put it right there. Just a couple of drops of alcohol. We got a little bit of it back, but you know what, I think that's good. And if I decide to, when I come back and highlight some areas and tone some areas down and make this a three-dimensional form, I can always come back in with a little bit of the iridescent green. Alright. Now let's do some leaves. This is our stem area and this is our leafus area. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is put some yellow down. This is the primary yellow. 2 drops. I think 3 went in. I'm going to go over the whole thing because even the stem has a yellowish cast to it. It's a warm. Yep, yellow's running off the page. I'm going to go to my blue-green next. That's Viridian. Ow! How many times are y'all gonna let me do that? It's like me and a hot glue gun. I don't care how many years I'll use one, which is quite a few. I will always stick my hand in the wet, hot, molten lava glue. And that hurts. This is not quite that hot. Okie doke. The stem, I'm going to try some red orange oxide just in this area because I want that to cool down now. I want it to be more of an umbery color, which I could get out the umber, but I'm not going to do it. Because the beauty of color is in the layering and the personalities of the two. That's doing something weird. Whoa, so was that. Playing here. A little bit of yellow alcohol. Okay. Be that way. It works good for me. So, okay, I did break down and pull out a burnt umber. This is a very cool, warm tone. Now remember where our light's coming from. It's up here. So if I pull in this burnt umber just right here, and if I pull some in on the crotch of that stem, don't you love the way I talk? My mother just goes, Vicki. It's all y'all's fault. I never did this before I met these crazy YouTube people. Here we go. I'm going to put just a, well, thought it was, just a little bit down here, here and there on those leaves. Okay, and some sap green. I'm just going to put the sap green on the leaves. Don't know what I'm going to get. This is very much visual texture. I'm going to turn this upside down. Look! Love Fall Art. It's done. Haha. Now to tie this all together at this stage, I'm going to use Titan Buff around everything but the pumpkin, because I already put that coat on there, and had I been planning what I was doing, I could have left that and done the entire page with Titan Buff, but I didn't, so we won't. So there you go. No rules. I'm going to switch back to the bigger brush. I've got about 4 drops of Titan Buff out. Look at me, just swipe right over that. Okay. I got a little visual texture up here, which is what I was looking for. Nope. Now it moved a little. Moved a little. Secrets in the water. Use one of my Tim Holtz clips. Clip. Okay, don't clip so many. Clip that down there and hold that corner. Now we're drying. Okie doke. Let me see if I can get that up closer. I think you'll be able to see that in the real video. See the texture up here in the Mr. Titan buff? Very, very subtle, and that's fine. All I wanted was a little bit of visual texture. Kind of matched what was going on down here. We got some good marks in where the leaves are going to go and in stem. I did modify my colors a little bit for the shadow and the shape. I could have a ball painting this out. I'm probably getting real anal with it, but I think I'm not quitting. This is just for the next step. Now, y'all want to do another fun experiment? It's in the floor. Of course. How did it end up over there? Stay tuned. Part 2 is right behind it.